It's a fascinating topic, customer service. If there's another subject that is a greater, more pervasive part of our global conversation, I can't think of what it is. When you think about it, there's some people that they prefer not to talk about politics. There's some people that aren't interested in sports. They're not interested in current events. They're not interested in who won the Oscars. They're not interested in who's sleeping with who. But customer service is something that we all talk about. When you think about it, hardly a week goes by where one of your colleagues or a friend or a family member doesn't tell you a story, an experience that they've had at a local store, or maybe dealing with a call center, or doing some technical support, or having to deal with a phone bill or a cable bill. When you think about that, you think about how pervasive this topic is in our society. Every day, every week, the conversation goes by. Just for fun, last night, because I had nothing else to do, I decided I just went on Twitter. So any of you have Twitter accounts? How many of you have Twitter accounts? A bunch of you? Awesome. I went on Twitter, and I used this program called Hootsuite. I used to look at things. And I started tracking, I do track customer service. So I started looking at it. And I said, I wonder how many posts. So this is a Saturday night. How many posts there are on Twitter over a 20-minute period. So just for fun, because I got bored after that. So after a 20-minute period, how many posts there were? In 20 minutes on customer service, just using that as a keyword that I was looking at, it was 210 posts. Wow, that's 20 posts a minute about customer service. Good ones, bad ones. It's really interesting. It's part of our global conversation. What's fascinating about it, and one of the things I enjoy about it, is that customer service, when you think about it, when you hear these stories and you look at them, they're not relegated to the usual suspects. Because when you think about it in business, when we think about customer service, when we're looking for models, we tend to sort of talk about Disney, we talk about Four Seasons or the Ritz-Carlton or Southwest Airlines. In Canada, we talk about WestJet. Those are the people that we look at. When we think of bad experiences, globally, we tend to talk about our telecoms. We talk about customer service over the telephone. We talk about our utilities. But really, our conversations aren't about those, are they? When you think about our conversations, they're about every little thing, and customer service is everywhere. I was in Houston a while back, and I was in there just on a project, and I flew in. And I'm really comfortable with Houston because I grew up there, spent a large part of my life there. And so I got into the airport, I hopped into a rental car, and I started driving to my destination. And I don't know if any of you have ever been to Houston or not, but the core of the city is surrounded by this gigantic toll road. I mean, it's huge. It's called the Beltway. And the Beltway is like 8 billion lanes of traffic, just all going around the city. And it's a toll road. And like many toll roads, it's got most of the lanes are dedicated to those easy pass things, those little easy pass things where you just have a little transponder and it sends you a bill every month, those kinds of things. And then there were 3 or 4 lanes, that for people that had exact change. So they're 75 cents. They had the little baskets. You drive in, you throw your money in the basket, and the thing opens up and you drive through. And then there's one lane for morons like me, right, that never have exact change for anything in our lives, like ever. So I'm headed for this one lane, right? So I go into this one lane, and when you think about it, I don't have a lot of expectations. And the job, I was thinking about the person that works in there. This is a job I could never do, ever. I could never do this job. Imagine they're sitting in a booth the size of a horse trailer. It's got no washroom. It's an 8-hour shift. They're surrounded by this constant cacophony of traffic noises coming from all around them. There's billowing exhaust fumes that's going around them. And they're dealing with person after person after person of people like me that don't plan ahead to have exact change. That would be the most frustrating thing in life for me. So as I'm driving up, I don't have any expectations. I'm thinking it's kind of like when you drive out of a parking garage and you hand the person your money and you might get a grunt if you're lucky. You don't think too much about that. So I drove up and stopped the car and held out a $20 bill. And true to my Canadian roots, the very first thing I did was apologize. So I handed it out and I said, "Sorry, that's the smallest thing I've got." And she broke into this gigantic smile. And she just said, Well, that's all right, honey. Said, you had anything smaller than that, chances are you'd have exact change. You had exact change, I'd be out of a job now, wouldn't I? Y'all have a nice drive. See you later. I was 5 miles down the road. I realized I still had a big grin on my face. It was wonderful. Customer experience, customer service happens everywhere. It's amazing how much of our conversation it is.